Hello, it's me again, Katrina the advisor, coming back to you today with some more topics on tax and business and life, basically, right? So, what I want to talk to you about today is, did you miss filing like a W-2 or maybe a 1099? Want to know what happens when you do that? Let's talk about it. So, what happens if you miss filing a 1099 or a W-2 or even a 1099-R, a 1099 NEC? There's different versions of 1099s, right? But they all report income to you. So, what happens if you didn't get it in the mail in time before you filed, or you didn't get it at all, or you just withheld it and said, I don't want to put that on, my refund's not going to look that great? So let's talk to you about what happens when you do that. So whatever form you receive in the mail, the IRS also receives it on your behalf. You'll notice there's different versions of it. You're getting your version of it. The IRS and the state, your state of record, gets their versions of it. If you're working in one state and you're living in another state, then each of those states get a copy of it as well. So whatever you have, they've also received. So it's kind of like an honor system when you're filing your tax return that says, hey, this is what I have. This is what I'm reporting. These are the additional pieces that I have with it. I have these dependents I've taken care of. I have this child care that I've paid for. I have these other things that you don't know about that I need to report to you that I did with the income. I had these charitable donations. I had this mortgage interest that I had. They get the mortgage interest statements as well, those 1098s that you get. But those things, the tax return allows you to insert the additional information to say, hey, I know I received all of this income, but this is not all that had happened with it. I had some deductions that I applied to that I want to take. So that's what the tax filing allows you to do. So when you miss those forms, what they do is they recalculate it. So you don't get it initially. They'll go, if you're getting a refund, if you owe, they'll go ahead and send out your refund. But what they do after tax season is over, that's when you get the letter. As soon as summertime hits and you've forgotten all about it, you'll get a letter that says, hey, we noticed that you didn't report all of your income, and here's what we have. And they'll put an example letter to show you what job it was from, what employer it was from, how much it was, what the timeline was, all of those things. So they'll notify you after the fact and recalculate it for you. So what you can do in those instances, so if you've gotten a refund, then sometimes you may have received more than you should have. So then now you have a tax bill due. Happens so often, especially with forms like 1099-Rs. That's when people borrow from their retirement accounts. People never want to put those on their return because usually you're paying the tax on the tax on the income on it. Plus, if you're under age 59 and a half, you're also paying a 10% penalty on that. There's some changes that have happened with that this year that I'll talk about in a later video. But this video, we're strictly going to talk about what happens when you miss those forms, filing those forms that you receive. So you'll get a letter in late summer, early summer that says, hey, we recalculated the return for you, and this is what it is. So if it's W-2 income, typically it is what it is. W-2 income has already been pre-taxed and all of those things. So that usually is what it is. If it's a 1099, you may want to look to see if there's additional deductions that you may have been able to take. If it was a 1099 NEC, non-employer compensation, that means that's self-employment income. With self-employment income, you can take the deductions that it took for you to run your business, right? So in those instances, you're going to want to go back and refigure what happens to bring that taxable income down. But it doesn't go away when you don't file those forms. So be really mindful. This is why we say don't rush to file if you haven't received all of your tax forms, especially your income stated forms, because what's going to happen is when it comes, the IRS is going to get their copy, you're going to get your copy, and if you've already filed, it's not going to be accurate. So if you filed and you've missed some documents, you're going to probably get a letter from the IRS. Sometimes they miss, sometimes it goes away. But here's the thing, they can always go back and say, hey, we didn't receive that form. And it may be a year before you get it. Typically, they're moving pretty fast now, so you'll usually get it a few months later. But if you've gotten a refund that would have been lower if you had included that form, then you have a tax bill due, like I said. So be really mindful about making sure you got all your forms. This is where you can pull your transcripts on irs.gov to see if for that top tax filing year that you've included everything. This is that's my 10 cents on this. If you have questions about tax, business, or just life in general, feel free to put it in the comments below. If you have questions about this particular topic and you need help, put comments below or hit my link in the description. And I look forward to talking with you again in the future. Again, I'm Katrina, the advisor, here with more tax, business, and wealth discussions. Have a great day. Bye-bye.